You've been told to run more. You've been told to do more cardio. You've been told to train your abs harder if you want to lose belly fat. Most people believe their stomach won't shrink because they haven't worked hard enough. So they run, they sweat, they push even harder. And yet their belly barely changes. So are we doing something wrong? Or is there actually one method that works better than everything else? Watch carefully, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how belly fat really works and what the #1 way to lose it actually is. Why belly fat is always last. Before we talk about solutions, you need to understand something critical. Belly fat is usually the last fat your body removes. Fat loss does not happen evenly. Your body decides the order. For most people, the arms lean out first, the face gets sharper, the upper back tightens, but the lower abdomen barely moves. This isn't bad luck. It's biological prioritization. Imagine your body fat like layers of a roll. The outer layers peel off first. The deeper center layers stay longer. The abdomen often sits closer to that center. This means one simple thing. If your overall body fat is still moderate, your stomach is not supposed to be flat yet. You cannot spot reduce fat with ab exercises. Crunches will build muscle. They will not remove the layer of fat covering it. So the real goal isn't targeting your belly. The real goal is lowering total body fat long enough for your belly to finally be next in line. And that leads us to the real mechanism behind fat loss. How fat loss actually works. Fat loss is not determined by how hard you sweat. It's determined by energy balance. If you consistently consume more energy than you burn, fat stays. If you consistently burn slightly more than you consume, fat slowly decreases. That's the foundation. But here's where it becomes more interesting. Your body runs primarily on two fuels, glucose and fat. The hormone that largely determines which fuel you use is insulin. When insulin is elevated, your body prioritizes burning glucose. When insulin drops, your body can access stored fat. If you are constantly eating, constantly snacking, constantly grazing throughout the day, insulin rarely drops long enough for meaningful fat burning to occur. That doesn't mean you need extreme dieting. It means structure matters. There's another layer. Stress hormones influence fat storage, especially around the abdomen. High-intensity cardio, aggressive calorie restriction, and poor sleep can elevate stress levels. When stress remains chronically high, your body becomes more protective of abdominal fat. So if you respond to slow progress by adding more intense cardio and cutting calories harder, you might actually be creating an environment that makes belly fat more resistant. Which brings us to a very important realization. More intensity is not always better. Consistency is. And this is where most people misunderstand cardio completely. Why running often fails. Running burns calories. That part is true. High-intensity workouts burn even more calories in less time. On paper, it sounds perfect. Burn more, lose more. But here's the problem. Most people cannot sustain high-intensity cardio for months. They start strong. They run 3 times a week. They feel motivated. But after a few weeks, fatigue builds. Joints start to ache. Hunger increases. Life gets busy. Sessions are skipped. And consistency breaks. Your body does not reward short bursts of effort. It responds to long-term patterns. If you cannot repeat something for 6 to 12 months, it cannot be the #1 method. Another issue is compensation. After intense cardio, appetite often increases. Many people unconsciously eat more. Some move less the rest of the day because they feel tired. the total calorie burn they expected gets partially canceled out. So running is not useless, but for fat loss, especially stubborn belly fat, sustainability matters more than intensity. If a method burns 400 calories but you quit after 2 months, it loses to a method that burns 200 calories and you maintain for a year. And this is where the real shift happens. The number one way to lose stubborn belly fat does not require running. It requires a system built around sustainable daily movement: walking. At first, this sounds too simple, too basic, almost disappointing. But walking solves the biggest problem in fat loss: consistency. Walking increases your daily energy expenditure without overwhelming your nervous system. It does not spike stress hormones aggressively. It does not destroy recovery. It does not make you dread tomorrow's session. When you increase your daily steps from 3,000 to 8 or 10,000, something subtle but powerful happens. Your total daily calorie burn rises. Your insulin sensitivity improves. Your blood sugar regulation becomes more stable. And you can repeat this every day. This is not about one intense session. It's about daily accumulated movement. 8 to 10,000 steps per day is a powerful baseline. If progress slows, you can increase slightly. Add incline on a treadmill. Walk faster. Add small weight. But the foundation remains simple: daily movement you can sustain. And walking is only one pillar of the system, because without the next piece, fat loss stalls again. Strength training and protein. If you only focus on burning calories, you miss a critical factor: muscle. When you lose weight, your body can lose both fat and muscle. If muscle drops significantly, your metabolic rate decreases. That makes further fat loss harder. Strength training sends a signal to your body: this tissue is important, keep it. By lifting weights consistently, you preserve lean mass while reducing fat. When the fat layer shrinks, there is muscle underneath to create shape and definition. Without resistance training, many people become what is often called skinny fat. The scale goes down, but the stomach still looks soft because muscle development is insufficient. Protein plays the same protective role. Higher protein intake supports muscle retention during a calorie deficit. It also improves satiety, making the deficit easier to maintain. When hunger is controlled, consistency improves. So now the system becomes clearer. A moderate calorie deficit, daily walking for sustainable energy expenditure, resistance training to preserve muscle, adequate protein to support recovery and appetite control. This combination works not because it is extreme, but because it is repeatable. But there is one more practical question: how do you actually structure this depending on where you are starting from? Because not everyone needs the same level of precision. If you are starting at a higher body fat level, the process is simpler than you think. In the first phase, your main focus is creating a consistent calorie deficit, increasing daily steps, and keeping protein high. You do not need perfect macro tracking. You do not need extreme dieting. You need structure and repetition. As body fat decreases, usually around the mid-teens for men or high teens for women, progress naturally slows. Your body adapts. Metabolism slightly decreases. Hunger increases. This is when precision becomes more important. You may need to track calories more carefully. Portion sizes that once worked might need adjustment. Fat intake may need to be controlled more tightly because fats are calorie-dense. Carbohydrates can be adjusted to support training performance and daily energy. The closer you get to lower body fat levels, the more discipline is required. But here is something important to understand. Going from moderate leanness to very low body fat demands significantly more sacrifice. Energy levels can dip. Social flexibility decreases. Hunger becomes more noticeable. Not everyone needs to push that far. For many people, reaching a sustainable, moderately lean state is the healthiest and most maintainable outcome. The key is knowing your goal before you start. Because the method does not change, only the level of precision does. And now, everything comes together. Let's bring everything together clearly. Belly fat is not stubborn because you lack effort. It is stubborn because it is usually the last place your body removes fat from. That means the real objective was never targeting your stomach directly. It was lowering total body fat long enough for your abdomen to finally respond. Running is not mandatory. Extreme cardio is not mandatory. The most effective way to lose stubborn belly fat is building a system your body can sustain. A moderate calorie deficit that you can maintain without burnout. 8 to 10,000 steps per day to steadily increase energy expenditure. Consistent resistance training to preserve muscle and improve body composition. Adequate protein to protect lean tissue and control hunger. Proper sleep and controlled stress to create a hormonal environment that supports fat release instead of fat retention. This is the method. Not flashy, not dramatic, but biologically aligned. Belly fat does not disappear because you train harder than everyone else. It disappears because you remain consistent longer than everyone else. If you repeat this system for months, not weeks, your body will change. And when your overall body fat drops low enough, your stomach will follow. That is the real answer. And now you know exactly what to focus on. If this helped you see belly fat differently, make sure you apply it. And if you want more science-based strategies explained clearly like this, subscribe and stay consistent. Because just like fat loss, results come from what you repeat.